What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Evans Boys YouTube channel. Today, I'm going over the top 3 fishing lures for kids and beginners. All right, guys, we'll see you guys out there. Peace. So the first lure that I want to talk about, the Wacky Rig. The Wacky Rig is a very simple, setup. This is using a yum dinger or any kind of stick bait will work. We use a hook with a weed guard attached to it, and basically what happens is you cast it out and they'll pop it up and then let it fall down. If you can get the kids or, even a beginner, if you guys can slow it down, and this is the first step in learning how to, drag on the bottom using just a stick bait, Texas rig. So this is a great option to use. It just catches fish as it's going down and coming up. It has this action to it. So it's a really great bait to use. Another great bait that we love to use is going to be a spinnerbait. This happens to be the Guggen Zinger. They have different types of blades. Some blades give a little more thump or a little bit more flash. Usually have a hook. You can run a trailer hook, but since it's for kids, just get them used to doing this. It's nice and heavy. You can cast it far, and it's a slow retrieve back. What tends to happen a lot, I see, is when kids cast out, they kind of get a little impatient and they lose focus, and they'll actually pause as they're retrieving, and that's when they usually get bit. This is probably one of the top ones I do recommend using for catching bass, and even advanced anglers or people that have a little more experience, they still go to the spinnerbait. So this is a great option for kids, and it really gets them out there. Once again, they're just casting out and retrieving back, and a little bit of pause here and there, that'll get you the bites. So the next one, this is where I developed for young kids. What this is this is also for beginners. A lot of kids are impatient, and they tend to not be able to kind of work a worm back towards you, especially if you're fishing from the bank. That slow retrieve, pop it up and let it sink. Well, what I thought is, anytime you take a kid out, they always want to cast out there, and even if you're fishing with bait, you'll cast it and they're always wanting to pick it up and reel it in. Oh, I gotta reel it in. So this is the perfect lure bait I found for this. What these are the Gary Yamamoto swim Senkos. I have them in black and blue. That tends to work out for us out here. And what we have it's Texas rigged, weighted with a 3/16 of an ounce bullet weight, and I have it pegged. And the reason why I have it pegged is so it doesn't get caught on if there's weeds or anything, and it's basically weedless once you Texpose that hook. The whole reason for this is they can cast it out, it'll sink down fast, and if they start reeling, it'll just swim through the water, giving that good thump on that tail. And these seem to work really well. Once I figured this out, even my wife, when she goes fishing, she gets a little impatient, doesn't want to work a worm back. So we got these things for her as well, where she can just kind of reel them in, and it becomes almost it's like a swim bait and a stick bait all in one. Now we do have other options as far as other worms that we do use. The next one is the Guggen blazing worm. It can be set up exactly the same way. It has this really cool tail on it that really gives a lot of action in the water. There is a reason why we use these. I still love using them, and the reason is because I can fish all 3 water columns with these baits right here. I can either come across the top just below the surface if they're hitting top water. I can fish that middle column, and it's just a nice slow retrieve back to me, or I can drop it down and bounce it off the bottom. So if I'm coming across see some structure, I'll let it sink right down below and then kind of hop it along the bottom and make it, you know, look a little bit more like a worm. All right, so that is another option. One of the other ones you can do if you guys want to save, be a little bit more budget friendly, is Yum made these, what they're called, the Yamandingers. They're basically the same thing as a like a swim Senko, but they have a paddle tail, a little bit different action. The material's a little bit different, but it's kind of the same thing. You can also fish these just like a stick bait when they go down, you know, and then you can bring them up and they have a different little flutter down to them, or you can just kind of swim along the bottom, pausing every now and then. And then the final one, these are one of my favorite, which is the Zoom Speed Worm. I think this is kind of where it all started from. The Speed Worm does exactly the same thing as all of these other ones. We do Texas rig it and weight it and peg it, and we run it just the same way. So with these setups here, you can't go wrong. I'm sure there's a couple other ones out there. If you guys use something different or have something similar to this, please let us know in the comments, and that way we could try them out. We're always looking for new ways to kind of get out there and fish for bass. All right, guys, here's a special bonus tip from LBA. He loves to use the a stick bait, any type of stick bait. His favorite is actually the Yum Dinger in a black and blue. We either use it without a weight, where it's just the weight of the worm, or we use a 3/16 weight with a bobber stop and we peg it. And he just loves to fish this bait. This is probably, he caught his first bass ever off of a Yum Dinger. And then what we do is we usually make it the weedless, and then we Texpose the hook, and he just has a blast using these things. You always hear us talk about stick bait nation, and that's one of the reasons why we use stick baits. We're a firm believer in them. Anytime we feel like we lose our confidence, we go back to the stick bait, and you know, it's probably one of the all-time greatest baits to catch fish on. You know, we Texas rig them, and that's the #1 way to go. And this would be LBA's pick for actually what he actually likes to use. He does like to use a bunch of variety of different things, but this is probably his favorite one to use right here. All right, guys, and that is the bonus tip for this video. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for today. I showed you guys the top 3 lures that are good for beginners and kids. So if you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And if you guys like our content, check out these videos over here, and don't forget to subscribe down there. All right, we'll see you guys out there on the water. Peace.